What's up? Travel Chronicles, chapter 110. So I know I said I was gonna keep up with the basketball season because I was really fired up, but turns out I didn't get videos off, so I couldn't keep up. But now I'm caught up. Finally, about 5 months worth of videos I had to get off there. So a couple things, some things have changed since. Well, actually, I think I just uploaded it. Or if I haven't uploaded, I'm going to upload that one. But I didn't do that. So, here we are. Couple things. On a personal note, I strained my calf, which is a horrible injury. It's maybe the worst injury that you could possibly have, ever. Yeah. It's that bad. It's definitely. I was playing volleyball with Faith at the church for a church team, and it was me, another older lady, and then 4 teenage girls. And teenage girls don't carry the weight. They don't. I'm running around, I'm jumping, and we played 2 sets and we lost 2 because we're not very good. I've never played competitively, right, volleyball. So, the last time I played any type of organized volleyball was probably in gym class. All right, so it wasn't pretty. And but I still say I was MVP. Why not? We play 2 sets, we lose. And I'm like, darn it. Okay, well, good time, everybody. Let's go. And they're like, oh, no, we're going to play one more. Just because we can. Because we got time. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we start the third one. Girls got to leave. So now that leaves us with 5. We only had 6, so we weren't rotating out. Maybe we had a 7th and we were rotating out, it'd been all right. But no, she leaves, so now we're down to 5. So now running around more, trying to cover more ground. Every time I can, I jump. I'll jump at the net. I'll jump, I'll try to block. I'll jump, I'll try to hit it. It didn't matter. So, we get near the end, and I think there's 3 or 4 points left in this game, and I jump, and I just hear pop like that, and I kind of feel it in my calf, right? Like a bad cramp, but then, something popped, and I was like, oh no. Right, and the guy across from me goes, I heard a pop. So I'm thinking, oh no, my Achilles popped. And I'm feeling, because I've heard that, if it pops, it'll start rolling back up in your leg underneath the skin on the muscle. So I'm feeling my Achilles, nothing's there. Okay, so that's not what happened. I limp off, and I've got incredible pain in my calf anytime I try to step or push off, and I don't know what's going on. So go home, ice it, ibuprofen. The next day, I can't take more than a half a step with my right leg, just half steps. That's it. I can't leave it behind me. I have to take a little half step in front, and that's it. That's all the further I can go. And it was so miserable. And it's been 3 weeks now, and I'm to the track now walking. I'm not doing the calf raises and stuff. That's probably the next thing I need to try to do. But I can't fully stretch it out yet either. So that's just one of the worst injuries I've had. I've been on crutches before with sprains and things, and the bad thing about it is after it first happens, if you try to do too much or you just move the wrong way a little bit, it is just a shooting, stabbing pain right in your calf muscle. And it just straightens you right back up. So that's bad. On the mom front, she has moved into her own assisted living apartment, but mentally she's not in the greatest state. Whenever you talk to her, you can't tell if she's telling you something that happened, something she dreamed, or something she's making up. She's hard to talk to, and every time I go down there, it's torture. Just from a standpoint, most of the time she doesn't know who I am. She'll ask me how CB's doing, or if I heard from CB, and I was like, "Mom, it's me." Or she'll tell me that I was down there a couple of days ago, and it's like, yeah, I know, I was here. It's just so hard because you don't know what's getting through, what's not, and this isn't the same person that I grew up with. Physically, I think she's doing better than what she was doing in October, but it's just mental torture every time I go down there. Her mind just resets constantly. But I think she's happy. I don't know. I have no idea what her mental state is. She keeps telling me there's people staying in a room next to her, and she's like, "I'm not paying for them." And it's like, "Mom, there's nobody staying in a room. It's the mirror. It's a mirror on the wall, is what it is." It's just, she can't get it. Dina's like, "You should just let her have it. Just ignore it." And I was like, "But it's so dumb. It's a simple thing. It's like, she should understand this." She can't. So that's that. Then on the girls' basketball front, I was right. So you play them freshmen instead of your seniors, and what happens? You lose the first game of the sectional. And I would say this is probably one of the more disappointing seasons I've seen from a basketball standpoint, like in a long time. When Elijah was in 8th grade, the new head coach took over the boys basketball program, and he had 8 seniors coming back, and he hadn't coached them at the varsity level, but somebody else had, so they kind of knew what to do. They went out. They did win the OVAC. They won the Buckeye 8, so they won 2 of their conference, championships that they play in. But they lost in the first round of the playoffs too, to like a 17 seed. Like, they were the number 1 seed. They had won 20 games in the regular season. They lost to like a 17 seed at home, and that was that was a squandering of talent, definitely. But this year was also a squandering of talent and experience. You have them girls there. They're in your system for 4 years. We should have been putting complicated offensive sets and stuff in. Literally during the season, I've seen us run 3 different set plays, and not every game either. Like, it was, motion, 5 out, 1 in, and it was sad. It was really sad. We could have had different girls getting shots every time down the court if we wanted to. You could have run complicated play signals, names, whatever, and it was just so basic. And you put them freshmen out there, and after watching this season, I am convinced, unless it is just a freak freshman, like, freshmen are going to cost you more games than they're going to win you. Unless you have to play them, right? Unless you have to put them out there because you have no choice because you've lost people, freshmen are going to lose you games. They're going to lose you more than you're going to win with them. And, eventually it pays off, but I don't think it pays off that much, because as kids get older, sophomores, juniors, they just get better anyway. That extra experience as a freshman is not that critical later on. And even if you get them like a little bit of experience, that probably does about the same thing. Hanging wins and losses on them is a mistake. It's a mistake. That's nothing against them. It's just they have games where they don't score, and they don't know enough to, all right, do something else. They can only do like their one thing that they do. And I talked about it before. They make mistakes. They don't take care of their body. They don't know how to get their rest. pregame routines. They screw stuff up. That's how they learn. But it's up to the coach to know that too. And as soon as we got to the sectional, we lost. But I'd say this is more of a squandering because we had 9 girls coming back that had played. Now, they weren't all seniors. You had 5 seniors. You had 1 girl get hurt. You had another girl have surgery. So, you lost 2 of them at the end of the year. If you'd brought them freshmen along slowly, them other girls would have still been filling a role. It was a mess. Anytime you lose first game of the sectional, to me, that's a terrible season. I don't care what you do in the regular season. Like, I don't care if you win 15, 16 games. If you go into the postseason and you lose a sectional game, even though we were on the road this year, like we had a home game last year, we get everybody back. We had 2 freshmen, and now we're a lower seeded team. Like, this season was so bad. It was so bad, and there was no reason for it. Just, I don't know. Coach was on the sideline coaching his daughter. She can't come out of the game. That cost you, and I'll stand by that. 100%. But she's going to be the point guard now for the next 3 years, or maybe 2 years, and then they'll have a freshman be point guard 2 years. Dumb. But Faith had a decent season. I mean, she didn't get to play a whole lot because she only played reserve, and a lot of teams didn't play reserve games. They either didn't have a team or they play half a game, and, so that's just disappointing from that standpoint. Girls sports as a whole is, kind of disappointing because, I understand what they did with Title IX to give girls an opportunity, but girls have a lot more interest than boys do. Like, boys are pretty narrowly focused, and you usually have, 5 or 6 a grade that will go out and do basketball. So, and that's all you need. Girls, that's hard. Plus, you have other sport offerings in the winter. Swim, bowling, or there's a lot of specialization now in sports. So if somebody's like a really good softball player or volleyball player, they're going to play club volleyball, right? Or they're going to do winter training to get ready for softball in the spring. It's just, it's hard to have enough to field teams, and I don't know. It's like, I understand what the intent was. Maybe the intent in the 70s or 80s, whenever that Title IX was signed in, it made sense, and you kind of had to build up. But honestly, I think girls sports have peaked. I think we're on the downward side, and they're going to have to, do so. I think sports like high school sports may have peaked, honestly. At least in this area. It's hard. And that's part of the postseason stuff too, because anytime you win a game, it's mostly just against other teams around here. Anytime we go further north into Ohio, it's a beatdown. Right? You'll have 1 or 2 teams here or there, make a run maybe to the state playoff, the last 4 games, the last 4 teams. But state titles in basketball, nah. We've had a couple in football, like Steubenville, they won. Yeah, pretty much just Steubenville. Toronto won in baseball a couple years ago. So that can happen. But basketball, you might as well just forget about it. And it's sad because we should be better than that. And there's a girls team, the UL team, talking about freshmen, right? So when they were freshmen, they didn't make it out of the district. Sophomores didn't make it out of the district. It took till their junior year till they won the district. And they're like 6-footers. Like, one girl's like 6'1", 6'2", and the other girl's like a legit 6 foot. And like, they're just now making it out of the district, and they won. They're in the regional final now, and I think they beat the number 1 ranked team in that division. So I mean, they could win a state championship. That team legitimately could win a sate championship in girls basketball. But those girls have been playing together at a high level, travel basketball, everything, since they were, I know at least 6th grade, they were doing all that stuff, playing in Pittsburgh and everything else. So, I mean, they've played a lot of basketball together. Very competitive. And the last thing I want to talk about is Russia. COVID's over also. Congratulations. Joe Biden ended it on Tuesday, right before his State of the Union address. He's like, COVID's done. So that's good. Wait for that to end. It's finally over. Although they still want people to have vaccines and stuff. It's like, it's done now. Good. As soon as they quit paying extra money to hospitals, it'll be over. But there's another thing on the world stage. Russia attacked Ukraine, which is something they did in the past. But to me, I'll just go through this real quick. To me, this is something where Putin thought he could get away with it because he did this in Georgia in 2008. The former Soviet Union country, Russia. He attacked them in 2008, took a little bit of their land. Then in 2014, Ukraine was kind of pro-Russia before that. They had a little bit of a democratic uprising, if you will. New leadership was less pro-Russia. And Russia was like, okay, we're taking Crimea back, which is like a peninsula on the southern side of Ukraine. So they took it back. They kind of helped some people on the east side of Ukraine start fighting each other. But nobody in the rest of the world said anything about it. So it was like, all right, yeah, cool, fine, take Crimea. We don't care, So he did that, and then he came back 8 years later. They recently had another election. This guy's even more, pro-Europe, anti-Russia, if you're looking at it that way. And the Soviet Union was like, look, we're going to set up for this military action. When they took over Crimea, Ukraine actually turned the water off because it's actually connected to Ukraine still. It's not connected to Russia at all. So the only water supply they had was coming from Ukraine, and Ukraine's like, we're not giving it to you. We're turning it off. So that was smart on them. But now Russia's like, okay, we need that water. We're going to need that water. So to me, I think this attack is all about reestablishing the supply to Crimea. I don't think they have any intent on overtaking Ukraine necessarily, but they want that area probably up to the river. There's a river that goes almost right down the middle of Ukraine. I don't think they'll come all the way in from the east, but they may take like the two areas that are fighting, the Donbass region. They may take that and annex it. I don't know, is that the right word? Allow them to have their freedom so that they can become Russian. Because it's mostly Russian speakers anyway, I think, in that side of the Ukraine. So to me, that part is going to become Russia. They're going to take Crimea and up to the river, and then whatever makes sense. But right now they're attacking Ukraine. They're coming in around the capital, and a lot of people around the world are mad this time because there's nothing else going on. We're not in Iraq. We're not in Afghanistan. We're not spread thin. We're watching, and we're like, dude, this ain't right. Putin, this ain't right. You shouldn't do this. So I don't know if he'll get his way or not. I could actually see it going where they end up losing Crimea, but maybe get the east side, which I don't think they really want the east side. I think they'd 10 times rather have that coast and the port cities. But we'll see what happens. I mean, they may lose out on everything, but the way that country's divided, the way Ukraine was divided after the Soviet Union split, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, it kind of makes sense, I guess, from a standpoint of they were pro-Russian to start with, so you go back to these old boundaries, but there's no natural borders between Ukraine and Russia, so I'll talk about it later. All right, be careful, be COVID-free, even though it's over. Later.